Hi there YouTube, Sad Womble here. This is a response to an article I've just read, hopefully I'll have a link in the low bar, relating to the idea that basically we're going to have the possibility of people being paid to do housework. This is feminism's latest idea, to make women feel valued, or to make men value women. Now, there is some logic that would say that the act of basically having a woman in your house and paying her the huge amounts of money in, for stuff, does count as payment for housekeeping. But I think the big problem with the concept of getting men to, not only actually, fun enough, it doesn't just say men, it says the state, to pay women for housekeeping. Or men for housekeeping, which would be quite amusing. Can you imagine women paying men to tidy? There's a major problem for a start, which is men aren't really... We're not tidy animals, to be honest. Men, on the whole, there are some house-proud men, and I like a tidy house as much as the next guy. But what tends to happen with me, and I don't know if you guys can appreciate this, is I will have a tidy house, and it will get messy because I'll leave things lying around, and it'll get messier and messier and messier until I come to a point where I go, do you know what, I just need to tidy this shit up. And then I'll tidy it up, and it'll go tidy, and then it'll go messy, 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 messy. Disaster, tidy it up. And it'll run that curve of tidy to disaster to pigsty to tidy to disaster to pigsty, and so it goes on. Now, you will find, certainly if you live with a woman, that she will moan every time you have mess. But you know what? The guy's quite cheerful about that. The guy's quite cool about having mess around the place. Because, you remember where things are, Yes, there's dirty coffee cups, and okay, I'll wash them up eventually. But as long as there's a clean coffee cup waiting for me, I'll just keep collecting dirty ones. And then at some point, I'll run out of cups, and I will have to wash them all up. That's how men work. A flat or a house or whatever tends to be a working environment. I certainly treat mine as a working environment. It isn't a show home. It's somewhere that I live, and I use it how I see fit, and I deal with it as I see fit. Women see everything I think women see their houses and homes as an extension of themselves, and as we know, they won't go anywhere without makeup on and looking awesome and stuff. Whereas men are just quite happy being chilled. Women tend to put this pressure on themselves. Oh, you wouldn't love me if I didn't look my best. Well, you know what? I don't really care, to be honest. As long as you don't look like a bus has hit you, it's fine. But I don't think really that getting women to be paid for housework is going to work. Because, what man's going to want to pay his woman to do the housework? It's like, fine, okay, I'll tell you what, I'm not actually going to pay you. I'm not going to give you any cash for housework. I'd rather spend it on gin and cigarettes and pizza. Does that mean she won't do any housework at all? Or will she be unable to cope with the mess and do it anyway? I think we all know the answer to that question. The more interesting part of the article actually suggests that the state will pay women to tidy. Which I then find hilarious because, as I say, women have a compulsion to be tidy. Again, not all women, in the same way as not all men are messy. But I would suggest that the vast majority of women want to live in a tidy house and care about the place being tidy way more than men do, as I said earlier. So it's what you do. It's like paying me to put clothes on. Although if you saw me, you probably would pay me. Certainly to go. If it's outside world stuff, if it's a job, then you get paid to do it. If you're doing it in your own home for your own enjoyment or your own psychological pleasure, why should you be paid to do it? This is just the whole thing. I don't think you should be. It's not gonna. I can't see it flying. If you have to start paying women, it's almost like a tax if you think about it. If every woman says, well, if you want me to tidy the house, you have to pay me. That basically instantly means that every female in the Western world, or whichever country goes for this tax concept, will suddenly automatically get cash, be it from the bloke or from the state if the bloke's not prepared to pay. So instantly, it's more women not taking responsibility for themselves and their environment, and they're saying, if you want me to have a nice tidy environment, you can pay me for it. Well, you know what? I don't care. what your environment is. If you want to live in a messy environment, that's totally cool by me. I'm not bloody paying you to tidy your own. It's like again, as always, it's women being, infantizing themselves, making themselves like children. When you're younger, your parents all say, well, here's, I'll pay you to tidy your room. And that's basically what women are now asking for. They're asking, not only are women being reduced or deliberately reducing themselves to victims and therefore children and people who can't be held responsible for anything, they're now making it official by saying, I'm not going to tidy my room unless you pay for it. And I just think it's just insane. It's going to be, it is going to be how much longer before it's like, say, if you want us all to wear makeup, you need to pay us a makeup allowance. Well, you know what, love? I don't care if you wear makeup or not. As a proud member of the MGTOW movement, I'm completely cool. If you don't want to wear makeup, that's fine. Don't objectify me. Well, okay, fine. We're not allowed. Men aren't allowed to objectify women because that basically means paying women a compliment, and you're not allowed to do that because that means sexist. So if women just don't want to be, if women don't want to do something unless they're paid, well, fine, don't do it then. I'm totally cool with that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the potential concept of women being paid to tidy. Yet another feminist, crazy, ridiculous idea. And that's not to say that men don't have crazy, ridiculous ideas as well, but, as ideas go, this one's a doozy.